Hi Year Sixers, welcome to your science lesson, first science lesson this week. We're carrying on with our Great Barrier Reef theme, and this is also going to link into your writing this week as well, because if you remember rightly, we're going to be finishing off our topic this week. So your next section in your write is going to be about the coral bleaching and sort of links with global warming as well. This particular lesson though is all about the research behind this coral bleaching, and then you can inform your right tomorrow, if I remember rightly. Let me just check. Yeah, you got your right tomorrow, that you'll be informing with everything that you do today. So you need with you a notebook today. You need a pen. You also need a little mini screwdriver. You could probably do with some sellotape as well. Chunk of wood. Maybe the car from Back to the Future. A trumpet. Anything you want really. As long as you've got a notebook and a pen, you're good to go. So what I'll do is I'll show you a few things that we'll be looking at this lesson, and then we'll sort of be doing some notes down here as well, going from the screen and to the whiteboard, sort of like how you'd go from the screen to the notebook. So what we'll do first of all, I'll introduce you to a video on YouTube, and then we'll make some notes about what we've just learned and about what we've just seen. So this first video is the video I want you to watch. This is the first video then out of the two that I want you to see. It's the one on YouTube. If you press play, it takes you through quite a nice little cartoon version of what is coral bleaching and how it occurs. So if you watch that video, and then we'll get back onto our note taking. I'm going to use this whiteboard then, just how you would use your notebook and a pen. So we've just watched that video, and you've got to think, well, what have I just learned from that video? Are there any very special technical vocabulary that I could use? So I've learned this word that he came up with was zoox. I think that's what he was saying, zoox there. And what these are they're something that lives on, what are they called again? Coral, there you go. They live on coral, and they provide food from the sunlight. Now I'm assuming that is photosynthesis, so I might put that down here as well. That's something we learned in year 4, photosynthesis. That's when cells in the plant use this sunlight and turn it into food for the plant. If you're unsure about that, then that's something that you might want to have a look at. And then also they also provide the colour as well, don't they? So they provide food, and they provide colour. Again, it might be worth looking into whether or not this is a symbiotic relationship. It didn't actually say on there, did it? But we have been looking at that word, and that's where you've got two things that live with each other and they help each other out. So that might be a symbiotic relationship there between the zoox and the coral. Maybe it's worth looking at about what the coral give the zoox as to why they're there as well. So that's what I learned in that video. There was also mention of something called CO2. CO2 is carbon dioxide. Okay, so whereas we like oxygen and we breathe out carbon dioxide, it's stuff like plants, trees, anything that grows in the garden, they take on the carbon dioxide and give out oxygen. Okay, this carbon dioxide though has a huge effect on global warming, and it's global warming then which is causing the rise in sea temperatures. Okay, and that rise in sea temperatures is then having a massive effect on these zoox over here because it's making them disappear. Okay, right, on to video 2. Video 2 is this news round video here. This is the next one that I want you to watch. It was made a few years ago, but it's still quite true what they've come up with, and all the research is proving that what they've said is true as well. So watch this video next. Okay, so hopefully you've been making some notes on that second video. What I learned then from that video is that these zoox now then, we've actually got a proper name for them, which is, if I spelt it right, zooxanthellae. Okay, so that's their scientific name. So this will sound a lot better in your write tomorrow. I don't know whether or not this is just an Australian slang term for it. Maybe that'll be worth working out where this has come from. So zooxanthellae is what they're called, and they're an algae. We learned that they're an algae. Everything else that we got on there from that video is very much similar to this, to video 1. Apart from we did get one fact about it being left hungry, didn't we? We said because they've gone now, the Zooks, the coral's being left hungry. I'll put coral in there, is what's being left hungry. And also that it takes time to go back to normal. It takes time to reverse bleaching, even though it can be done though. It can still be done, which is quite positive we can take away from that. Right, on to the third thing we need to research. And the final thing that you're going to be using to research, that I'll set you, obviously you can do your own research as well, is this PowerPoint here that I'll be sending you. It's flick through it, there's some really good research on there, and then make some notes in your notebook as well. So some cool facts inside that little PowerPoint. Also a little picture, I don't know if you saw it, of actual bleached coral there, and instead of just a little cartoon picture of it, there's an actual one in there. That's maybe worth googling actually. Google imaging some bleached coral, because it's quite upsetting, but also quite eerie, quite a spooky thing to have a look at, bleached coral. Anyway, what did we learn from the PowerPoint then? So I learnt that it takes 4 weeks for bleaching to start. But also even more scarier than that is in 8 weeks it can be dead. 8 weeks could lead to death. A bit upsetting that really, isn't it? It only takes 2 months really for coral to die. Again, what they were sort of saying in there as well, that it's the cause of it is global warming, too much sunlight, a rise in temperature. Okay, so that's something else that we learned that confirms what we learned over here as well. There was also, though, they had some nice things. I'm going to put it in half here. There's some nice things about things we could do. So it was like save water, are suggestions. So if you did in your write tomorrow, you could have a couple of paragraphs maybe of how it is, what it is and how it happens, and then you might want to do a paragraph on how we could maybe save the coral after it's been bleached, or stop it from being bleached altogether. So there was save water, there was rubbish in bins, so then it doesn't end up in oceans. That's a big one as well, isn't it? They also had something about just being kind to the sea, which was nice. Be kind to sea. And also plant trees. That was a good one, wasn't it? About planting trees, because they said something about the stop the water runoff into the oceans, and so it like sort of soaks up the water runoff instead of going straight into the oceans and polluting the ocean. So there's quite a few points on there then to raise. What am I talking about? To inform your research. I'm going to put some questions on there as well. But before we do that, I'm just going to draw a quick picture about what bleaching actually looks like. Okay, so I've just drawn this quick sketch to try and get my head around what we've just actually researched here. So I've tried to draw like a sunshine, some sea over here, and then land where we'd be living. And it sort of starts over here. So pollution equals CO2 equals carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide then adds to global warming. So global warming, the greenhouse gases going up into the atmosphere, global warming equals higher temperatures coming down from the sun. Higher temperatures then here equals warmer oceans. So the sun rays are then warming up the ocean. Warmer oceans equals less zooks is what we found. They don't like it when it gets too hot. And then less zooks equals dead coral. So that is the way it looks really. To try and make it make sense in my head. If I drew a sort of arrow, it's then going in this direction here. Okay, that's what it looks like, and it sort of makes a bit more sense for me. Also, in your writing tomorrow, remember when it comes to a non-chronological report, you can draw and label and write captions, little diagrams inside as well. So this will be really good to put inside your writing tomorrow. I hope that makes more sense for you. Have a go at those questions. Good luck with it. I'm looking forward to seeing your answers. See you later.